Last night, my wife was speaking to a woman named Emmanuel, whose brother did 2 tours in the Canadian Armed Forces in Afghanistan. And in light of all the recent news, of the incidents of post-traumatic stress in the returning veterans from the Afghanistan conflict, I had a brief chat with her, and she suggested that we watch a documentary entitled "This Is What Winning Looks Like." So Joe and I watched that this morning, and the sad part about that documentary is probably very few people will see it. And those that do see it might not watch it all the way through because it's not pleasant information. It's not at all what you would want to see, given the government of Canada has sent a lot of troops, spent a lot of money to do something in Afghanistan. And what you see in this documentary is not what you'd like to see with respect to having spent all that financial and physical capital. And I'm not talking about the equipment, I'm talking about the people. You put a lot of lives into Afghanistan, ruined them, and for no real positive result. And I think this all ties back to, and yeah, this is a bit of a rant, it all ties back to the fact that Canada never should have gone to Afghanistan. We only went there because one of our allies said, we have to go do this, we have to go avenge something that happened. We're talking the 9/11 events. But it was all, in my opinion, totally misguided, and countries who had alliances with the United States got sucked into this mess. They sent a lot of their citizens over there, their armed forces, and we got nothing out of it. If you watch this documentary, this is what winning looks like. You get a real nice snapshot of, yep, a country attempted to invade and change something in another country, and once again, they got nowhere. They spilled a lot of blood, and it's going to go back to the way it was before it all began, because you can't go and affect a change in another country, another culture, in 10 short years and expect it to stick. You'd have to stick troops in there, in my opinion. I mean, I'm just ballparking it. Probably 2 generations worth. You'd have to, and even then it probably wouldn't work. But why did Canada send troops there? Well, because we didn't have the political will, and I think we did not have the political will to say no, because the country as a whole, each and every one of us doesn't every day tell our government what we will and will not accept. And as you may have heard me say before, what we accept, we will get. And we as a country didn't stand up and say, no, we don't want any part of this Afghanistan mess. Don't send our troops there. We didn't do that. So we ended up sending troops there, and now they're coming back. They're all home, and they're not well, and the government's not even supporting them, at home. I mean, maybe they did a reasonable job, but we heard stories while they were away. They weren't being properly supported. They weren't being given the proper equipment. They were borrowing it from the Americans, and now they're back home. Canadian vets aren't being supported by the government. So if we weren't going to stand up and say, hey, don't send them, how about we stand up and say, hey, support the troops that we sent? Just a thought. Maybe you could write a letter to the Prime Minister. Do it. Do it now. Thanks very much.